Tate, there are a few things you need to know. Andrew is taking a massive risk agreeing to do this 5-hour and 20-minute interview because he is still under house arrest and under investigation, which means anything he says can and will be held against him. Now, what did we talk about in this interview? We talked about his experience in jail with Tristan, untold stories, religion, how this impacted his life, how emotional was it? Was he scared? You're going to see a side of him you've never seen before. We definitely talked about BBC. BBC is not going to like this interview for many reasons. You'll see why. It's a total of 15 hours that we spent with Andrew and Tristan at his compound, so a lot was covered. Having said that, there's about 45 minutes of this interview that will be censored due to the topic of discussion being around his investigation in Romania. So if you want to see that 45-minute portion, you will need to text the word TATE to 310-340-1132 or click on a link below to subscribe to an email for that to be sent to you after his investigation or indictment is public. Having said that, brace for impact. You're about to be value-tained by the one and only Andrew Tate.
I'm winning too well. I'm scared by the incompetence of these clowns.
If this guy is so innocent, how can they get you to go to the dungeon for 92 days? How can they put you on house arrest? How can they do all this stuff?
They could do this to you. They could do this to anyone. They could do it to you or me or any man watching this. Any man watching this. I wake up instinctually at 5 a.m. because that's when they raid your house. I wake up at like 4:59. I just fucking shoot up.
Empires have fallen so many times because they thought they can get away with murder, and then eventually people said, "Listen, stop. You're not gonna do this to me anymore. We're not gonna take a stand."
When I destroyed the BBC, my brother was celebrating. I knew. I said, Tristan, no. You don't beat the British Broadcasting Corporation to make fools of them like this without some new bullshit.
This is where their argument has leaks in it.
I'm genuinely looking for guidance here. Am I supposed to roll over and fucking lose?
You sincerely don't know what the right thing is.
I sincerely have decided that the best thing I can do is stay true to my faith and stay true to God and tell the truth and fight.
So a lot has changed since the last time we sat down with Andrew Tate. Last time we sat down with him, you were the most Googled man on earth. Today, effective last 2 days, you are now the most Googled woman on earth.
Correct.
According to your Twitter profile.
Correct.
And we wanted to make sure after the BBC interview, you made certain requests.
Yeah.
You said you want, moving forward, there to be a $50,000 fee when people sit down to do an interview. So we wanted to make sure the ESG score for this interview would be very high. We got you a $50,000 Target gift card.
I appreciate it very
for
much.
People in America will appreciate
I need
that.
a whole new wardrobe.
And then
Yeah.
you also said cookies. So Adam got you some
Box of
Tate
chocolates.
cookies.
Amazing.
To make sure we match that. And then we
One
did,
for your brother as well, I
We did
believe.
bring a Bud Light,
Yes.
but unfortunately, Vinny finished it on the way here. Vinny, you know,
I'm already a girl. I don't need Bud Light.
yeah, so we respect that. So, but anyways, look, a lot's obviously changed from last time to this time. Last time we sat down was around 9 months ago.
Yeah.
You had, at the time, been deplatformed from every social media platform. We came out here, we sat down, we spoke. The Matrix was attacking you. You were saying, Matrix attacking me, Matrix attacking me.
Yep.
From then on, Musk buys Twitter in October.
Yep.
He then reinstates you.
Correct.
In one day, I believe you get 1 million followers on Twitter. You're upwards of 7 million today.
Yep.
Every other account's taken down. I think even Tristan was taken down off of Instagram.
Yep.
And then, you know, the arrest comes, the lover boy, all these articles.
Yep.
And Vice releases the hit piece on you guys. You know, they're saying what they're saying, and I'm sure we're going to get some comments on that.
Yep.
The initial 30-day lockup was extended twice, 92 days in the dungeon.
Yep.
We had a chance to speak with one of your lawyers, Tina Glandian, on February 24th. It was a great conversation we had with her. Then eventually you're released, you and your brother come out, and you specifically make it clear that you did 7,417 push-ups.
Correct.
Very impressive. You received letters from thousands of fans. You read the Quran on a daily basis.
Yep.
At no point was any charges, anything official charge. It was all allegedly.
Yep.
And while you were away, a new star was born, Dylan Mulvaney, which I'm sure you're familiar with. From there on, a lot of comments were made. Comments of people that supported you, comments of people that didn't support you.
Yep.
Logan Paul said by 2023 he will not have a sliver of relevance, is what he said. KSI said Andrew Tate snitched on himself after getting racialed by Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Destiny said Andrew Tate has been arrested for rape charges in a country he specifically lives in to avoid rape charges because he was beefing with a autistic child on the internet. I think he's referencing the great Greta.
Yep.
Matt Bernstein advocated to get you kicked off of Instagram.
Sure.
And he's part of the Blue Pill community, a big famous makeup artist.
Yep.
Ethan Klein said, and that's why I call him Andrew, the human trafficker. He sent me a cease and desist threatening to sue me for defamation for saying he's a human trafficker.
Yeah.
What else am I supposed to call someone that buys and sells human beings after their will? Tate, the human trafficker. NBC in January 2023 said Andrew Tate said he broke a woman's jaw and that his business was a scam ahead of Romanian charges.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone said, meet Andrew Tate, ex-kickboxer, red pilling the angry young men of America. These are people that didn't support you. Now, these are the people that supported you. Tucker Carlson, he comes out and he says on Full Send podcast, first of all, he's really smart. Yeah. The spirit that animates Andrew Tate is very clear and very obvious, and it's not a malicious spirit at all. Andrew Tate's core message is respect for yourself, act like you're worth something, achieve something, do something, get the fuck off the couch, put down the porn, go do something with your life. That's the greatest message that anyone could give. It tells you everything about the people in charge who say that's threatening. What is that threatening? The same people who live on the pedo island with Epstein and the same people that were friends with Harvey Weinstein were claiming to protect women by rebuking Tate. Yep. That's Tucker Carlson.
Yep.
Piers Morgan, who originally, when he went on, it was very combative.
Correct.
It was a very good interview, entertaining, but it was also interesting to see him trying to push you. And then he flips and he says, this is getting ridiculous. Romanian authorities must either charge him and his brother if they have actual evidence of crimes or release them. Musk obviously supported by restoring your account like this. Jake Shields said people are freaking out about young boys looking up to Andrew Tate, but totally fine with young girls looking up to Cardi B and the Kardashians. And obviously, Aiden Ross, Red Pill community, Joe Rogan. I can go on and on and on about a lot of things that's being said. We watched the BBC interview, and we'll talk about BBC here in a minute because I have some questions on that as well. But the first thing I want to ask you is, 9 months, where we were at then, September, to where we are today, a lot's changed. How do you feel with everything that's going on? And tell us a little bit about your current state today.
Yeah, there's a very strange sense of terror that comes from knowing exactly what's going to happen to you. There's a strange sense of calm that comes from it also, but in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, sometimes you feel happy knowing what they're trying to do to you, and sometimes you feel terrified knowing what they're trying to do to you. I think I'm very happy. Every single podcast I did previous to this, I hammered the point home and I made it very clear that they had the intention of trying to put me in jail. I said, there's 3 lives. They try and cancel you and slander you and destroy your name. They don't just want you to disappear from the internet. They want you to disappear from the internet in a cloud of shame. They have to shame you, which is why they chose the crimes they did for me, and it's why they usually choose the crimes they choose, because it's heinous. They want to shame you, and they want you to disappear with your head facing the ground and never pop up again. Obviously, they attempted to cancel me. I became more famous than ever before. I even said to you on your podcast, and I said on other podcasts, I said, I think they made a mistake. I think when you have power and you overuse it, what happens is a rebellion. That's how a revolution starts. When you have power, you have to be very, very careful with how you use that power. The second you overuse it, there's a revolution, and we're in Romania, so they know all about that. That's exactly what happens. And I said at the time, I think I was a mistake. I think they made a big mistake canceling me the way they did. And then the second time, the second life, which I described as they try and put you in jail for no reason. Here we are in the current scenario. I knew it was going to happen. And the third one is they put a bullet in your head. So we're going to have to see how the second life plays out. And yeah, I mean, when this is all over and I win the court case and I get the not guilty, I won't be smiling. I'll be walking out the courtroom with my head on a swivel. That's the kind of life I'm living now. I'm going to be thinking, oh, okay, so their second attempt failed. Now what? Like, do I want to fly private anymore? Do I want to go that place anymore? You start to think about these things. Like, do I want to do these things? A lot of billionaires dying in plane crashes. It's strange. So it's scary, regardless of how it plays out. And I guess you just have to go with the punches and see where it lands. And God has a plan for me and for all of us, and we're just going to see how it ends up.
Full disclosure, you don't have any suicidal thoughts.
I want to make it very clear, and I make it clear on absolutely every single podcast, I would never kill myself. I don't care what they say. I don't care what video they show you. Never under any circumstance would I kill myself. It's haram. Never. I don't care if they put me back in the dungeon, solitary confinement by myself for the rest of my human years. I would never kill myself, ever, ever. So if that ever happens, God forbid, do not believe whatever garbage they tell you. The chance of me killing myself is precisely zero.
And you had this complete level of certainty that this is exactly how it would play out. You've said this on umpteen podcasts that this is their agenda.
They have to damage my influence. They have to damage my influence. They can't sit there and let me be influential because I'm saying things that they don't like me saying. And there are people sitting around going, he's saying things counter to our message and counter to our narrative. Get rid of him. And they have a pretty standardized playbook. And this is probably one of the first times in history where their playbook just isn't working. Cancel him. Well, he's still around. Oh, well, lie about him in the news. Just say he touches chicks. Well, no one believes it. Oh, all the comments are on his side. Everyone's calling us liars. Okay, then do it again. Then do it again. Make up a new girl. Then do it again. Find someone else. Yeah. And they keep attacking me with the same weapons, but the bullets are bouncing off. And that doesn't give me a sense of calm. That doesn't make me think, ha ha ha, I'm invincible. It makes me think, uh-oh. It makes me think, uh-oh, because human life is cheap at the top. It's very cheap.
Does it make you want to sit on the sidelines and be quiet and just kind of live a life with your family, your kids? Does it make you want to do that? Maybe all these attention is actually not a good thing.
It's interesting because sometimes I analyze myself and think, why don't I just do that? Why don't I just disappear? You know, I don't need money. I don't need fame. Why don't I just disappear? And then you have to, I was saying this to my brother, and he was like, well, Genghis Khan didn't need Vienna. Some people are just wired that way. Like, Vienna's a long way from Kathmandu. Sometimes that's just the way it is, or Ulaanbaatar, I apologize, the capital of Mongolia. That's just the way some people are. If I see injustice, and if I see things which I believe to be false, I feel like I am obligated to say the truth. I can't explain why, even if at my own detriment. What am I doing this for? Like, it's to the detriment of my life. And I've had these conversations at length with the people close to me, and we're all saying the same thing. It's always been the same way. Humanity's always been the same way. There's been a select, small, few good men up against evil, and evil always outnumbers you. Evil always has more money than you. They always have more power and more influence than you. If you play any video game, when you get to the end boss, he always has more life than you. He always has more hit points, but you're the good guy. And it's kind of like, it's never been any different. At any point in human history, there's been the good guys up against the forces of evil, whatever they were of the time, and you've always been outnumbered and you've always been supposed to lose.